Welcome class to your Chapter 2 lecture video, Variables and Simple Data Types. In Chapter 2, we're going to cover variables, strings, numbers, and comments. We'll first begin by looking back at Chapter 1 example hello world.py. So when working with hello world.py, the file extension py indicates that it is a Python program, and that tells this editor, Sublime Text 3, that we need to find the Python interpreter and so that it can interpret the lines that we have coded. Also, by using py, we then get the color coding of our syntax that we are using. So always make sure that you save your files right away and save them with the .py file extension. Variables. Variables hold a value in a computer's memory. It's like putting something inside of a box, and that box then holds what was put inside of the box. So in this case, we are going to create a variable called message. It's going to have the value of a string, hello Python world, and then we're going to go ahead and print out that message. So let's go ahead and modify this to have that result. So variable message has the string hello Python world, and then we go ahead and just print out message. So we see that we have still the same results as we did before by just doing the simple print statement. We can change the value of that variable at any time. So if I wanted to create another one, another value of that variable, hello Python crash course world, I see that I have now two outputs of my print statement with two different values. So how do we go about naming our variables? We have the rules. We have to name with letters, numbers, and underscores only. We have to start with a letter or underscore, so no number can lead the start of a name of a variable. Spaces are not allowed. We cannot use Python keywords, and at this point we've used one Python keyword, and that is print. So we would never name a variable print, and they should be short and descriptive, and they should be kind of named in a functional way. So in our case, message is exactly what it was. So if it's a name, if it's the name of a restaurant, maybe it's restaurant, those kind of things. Recommended that we type our variables all in lowercase. Avoiding name errors when using variables. So in this example, and maybe you could see it right away, we're missing an S in our print statement. So let me go ahead and do that one here. And now we see that we have name message with just the S, one S, is not defined. It points to line 5 as the culprit of our particular error. So again, to fix that, we would just put our double S on there, because in line 4, that's exactly what message is called. And now we get our working file again. So traceback error, they're nice. They point usually exactly to where you need, and sometimes there are multiple locations, but we'll build on that. Strings, a series of characters and anything inside a single or double quotation mark. So you're either going to use single to enclose everything, or you're going to go ahead and use double to enclose everything. So we have multiple examples here. An example of double to double, single to single, single to single, but a double quotation mark within that string. And then here we have a single quotation mark example within double. And then we have a double here with a single apostrophe, making Python plural and making it possessive. Changing case in a string with methods. So we can use methods such as title or upper or lower. So let's go ahead and build a brand new file called name.py and practice these three methods. So as you're going through your text, you want to practice these yourself. So new, and the first step that you're going to do is do that save, give it a name. Now I've organized my files within a folder called Python_work, and then I have chapters. So this one will be saved in, actually that should be saved in chapter 2. So let's go ahead and do a new file, save Python work. Let's go to chapter 2, save it as name. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and start typing. So name equal Ada Lovelace. Okay, so variables are coded in white and our strings here are in yellow. And then we're going to print out name. I'm just going to do name here first. So we got Ada Lovelace. Now we're going to add that method of title to it. Methods are followed by an empty set of parentheses for now. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this one. And we see now that Ada is capitalized and Lovelace is also capitalized. So that's the function of what title does. So let's go ahead and expand this by adding upper and lower to it as well. So we can have multiple print statements. You can space them apart. Just depends on the readability that you want. And remember, those methods always have the 2 parentheses following. And then let's go ahead and do print name lower. So we've got our result of all uppercase and our result of all lowercase. Now the purpose of that is that when we store data in such as a database, we usually convert everything to lowercase before we go ahead and do that. So if we were getting input from a visitor, we would then convert that to lowercase before we would store it. It just keeps data consistent in that way. Using variables in strings. This is new to version 3.6 of Python and newer. And so this is F string, so F-string. So how do we kind of concatenate maybe some text with a variable, or maybe it's multiple variables that are brought together. So in our first example here, we have first name equal Ada, last name is Lovelace. Then we go ahead and we build a brand new variable concatenating these two together. And so the syntax is F before the first quotation mark, the ending quotation mark is on the very end, and then our variables are enclosed within curly braces. And then we can go ahead and print that out when we're done. So let's go ahead and build this new file. And remember, you want to save them right away so that you get that color coding. So first, so here's our F string. Notice that when I put my first double quote in, it closes it out with the ending quote, which is really nice. And then I have my curly brace, first name, closing curly brace, a space, and then last name. And notice too here as I'm typing that I'm getting a code hint below it. So it already knows what my variables are. I just have to hit the enter key and it brings them in. And then my last statement here is to print out that full name variable. Okay, and here we have Ada Lovelace with that space in between using an F string. Now we can further this by adding some text in here. So we are going to I'm going to actually jump to the bottom of page 21 and do that example. They have one in between that's kind of like just building the print statement first, but I'm just going to go right to the very